Chapter 7. At first glance, there was nothing special about the house. Red tiles topped the sloping roof. The facade bore the marks of the bricklayer's chisel. Dijkstra once told Dandelion that he had all decorations removed from the property, formerly owned by a magnate close to the court, was taken over by the Redanian intelligence. It just so happened that the owner had disappeared during the purge following the death of King Vizimir. Since then, Dijkstra, whenever he stayed in Oxenfurt incognito, used the spot as his safe house. Dandelion entered the garden through a rusty gate. He pushed through a tangle of weeds with his hands, realizing far too late that nettles hid among the undergrowth. He dried his eyes with reddening fingers. The scent of wildflowers penetrated his nose. "Come on in." Dijkstra stood in the doorway, a kitchen apron a few sizes too small, clinging to his belly unflatteringly with a knife in his hand. Oh, that's an image. Whew. A pot gurgled over a fireplace, the flames of which did little to brighten the house's dark interior. The poet caught a pleasant whiff of vegetable broth. The spy said nothing. He sat at the table and went back to chopping an onion. "We need to talk," Dandelion said. He was in no mood for stories. The seriousness of the circumstances overwhelmed him, so he went straight to summarizing the latest events. He told Dijkstra about Iriana's part in the book theft, about the students' conspiracy led by Ranulf, about the dangerous idea to set the university on fire. The old spy, leaning over the cutting board, listened attentively without interrupting the poet. He took the report with dignity. "And now fuck off or I'll add you to my soup." Dijkstra: "I thought even you couldn't fuck up such a simple job." The spy chopped harder, his knife biting deep into the wood beneath the onion. "Back in the good old days, I'd send you to Drakenborg for this. In a bag." This criticism is unfair, harming even. Imagine that I honestly took on Iriana's problems as my own, even though your daughter was a stranger to me. I treated her as a person dear to my heart and I took all measures to protect her, to help her get out of trouble. "What trouble?" Dijkstra hissed. "Excuse me asking, but since you started taking care of matters, the list of troubles has only grown." "Some troubles with Fistek, for example. And the motion for suspending her student rights was lost somewhere in the papers. The rector's secretary is taking care of them, and I promised her, well, look, never mind what I promised her. The point is, I have her in my hand." Dijkstra looked at the bard suspiciously. "Last time our conversation went much better," he said. "What, because you tried to scare me?" "Because you were calmer, not rattling all wound up. I have to admit, the calculating Dandelion I could get to like. Problem is, you're much more like the old Dandelion now. I don't like him so much." The poet cleared his throat. "Listen, Dijkstra." "Belletin? I heard. Something stinks." "And you're sure it's not the soup?" "They're young. That explains everything. Hot-headed kids drunk with victory. I used to be like that myself." The spy squinted. "Used to be. That's a good one." "Spare me your half-assed quips, please. Things are serious. Regardless of intentions, they seem to be determined about the fire, and Ranulf, he's a provocateur, instigator on the church's leech." "The kid? If he provokes with anything, it's his repertoire." "Dandelion, use your imagination. The magnificent buildings of the Academy burns like the greatest steak on May night. Who'll benefit from that?" Dandelion sat down. "The censor," he said quietly. "The Academy is not a piece of land you can take over just like that. You need much more to shackle it. You need chaos that nobody can control, a mess which will convince Radovid that someone else is needed to step in and clean it up. Do you understand?" Dandelion did understand. "What's your advice?" "You need to find evidence." The poet thought for a moment and nodded. He stood up, scratching his red, splotchy hands. "I think I know where to start." Dijkstra grunted. "Dandelion, one more thing. Does she—" "No, I'm sorry, she doesn't want to see you." The spy nodded and he wiped a tear from his cheek and, with the knife, slid the onion into the pot. "I'll take care of her," said Dandelion. "You can trust me." "You take care of your noodle." "You take care of you, Noodle," Stay away from nettles. Stone Dog, thank you for the follow. The cart bounced over a bump. Dandelion hit his head on the chest's false bottom and concluded that the plan could have been more thoroughly thought out. Can you please get me there in one piece? He whispered through the hole in the chest wall. Sana just chuckled. You can thank war for all these pleasures. This road used to be even. Then the army decided they needed stone, and when the army needs, it takes. Then lead your skinny jade between the holes. I almost broke my nose back there. Silence, said Isengrim, sitting next to the Havikar. We're here. Dandelion went quiet. He took in the muddy harbour air. Looking through the hole, he saw 2 sailors jump off the board of the cordial hangman. What's that? One of them asked. Books, replied Sana. One chest missed the last shipment somehow. Does Ranulf know? Yes. Dandelion heard the lid open and a hand rummaged through the chest's contents. Alright, hey, Torrent, Svan, give us a hand over here. Gotta drag this to the hangman. He felt the chest move up and then down, along with the sound of grunts and heavy breathing. On all God's woman, what's in this bloody box? A corpse? Just books. Knowledge weighs. They were not regular sailors. Dandelion did not need to see them to know that. As soon as the chest was below deck, he heard them talking. After years of absorbing military jargon, he could pass for an expert. The men pushed the cargo by the main mast with visible effort. Should be the last, one of them said. So why are we not leaving yet? Asked the other. Dandelion caught a northern accent in his voice. Creighton, most likely. In a hurry, back to your suite, Merker. And you're not in a hurry to go home? We're sitting here like shrimp in a barrel with a Reganian frigate just 3 boats ahead. We have the cargo the prince wanted us to get. I don't see what we're doing here. Look, the order is to wait till Belleton, so we wait. Well, needs to burn will burn, then the boy gives us a sign and we go. Dandelion swallowed and cursed without sound. Kavirian intelligence. Great. That's all I need right now. His initial plan was to investigate the ship and look for evidence of the church's meddling. He decided to revise that plan thoroughly. He also now regretted refusing Isengrim's offer to take his place in the chest. Fortunately, the elf had promised that if Dandelion didn't slip away from the cordial hangman by midnight, he'd come for him. So the poet waited. A commotion interrupted his ruminations. Someone else had appeared below deck. Can you explain what that chest is doing here? It's from the Havikar woman, Captain. Some additional books. Some additional books, you say? Did you check it? We did. The sound of steps on boards, closer and closer. I've seen this sort of chest before. It so happens I used to have one of them before I joined the Adieu's Free Company. It's a very useful thing, you see. It has a false bottom, but it also has a hole in the side to access contraband, so you don't have to unload the legal contents to get to it. You just need to push right here. The hidden compartment opened and Dandelion saw several pairs of shoes and several pairs of eyes just after. One of the men, the one who spoke with Sana earlier, smiled wide. What do we have here? On the pier, I told the old woman she kept a corpse in there. Not so far from the truth, after all. Ooh, it's getting tense. It's getting tense. I would say it's a good job Isengrim's coming after Dandelion, because I just feel like he might struggle in this situation.